do this, and you need to do it now. And I mean fucking tonight. Why tonight? I can't come back here tomorrow with this proposal because the interest rates in this proposal are no good. I have to, if I
the proposal software is going to go down.
The proposal software is going to go down. And if I
do you see why Michael O'Donnell is my Michael Jordan?
Oh, here we go. What's up, everybody?
Joe, you didn't tell me I'd have to learn a new app.
Yeah, I didn't know you're going to use your phone. Use your phone or the computer.
No, I'm on my iPad. That's what I use at my desktop.
Ah, that makes sense. You know what? I didn't give you a lot of information, Mike. I just told you be here, be ready. Here,
Brian.
Here you are.
Hey, Michael O'Donnell. Nice to meet you.
Josh King, Michael O'Donnell. I remember a couple of years ago before Jake and Mike knew each other, and I introduced you guys in Vegas. Yep. I think that was at the Bellagio. I remember that video. I had you guys over my arms. It was amazing. I was so excited, and I'm just as excited now because I really feel like
beginning of Jake and I's journey. Joe introducing us in the lobby of the Bellagio.
That's true.
And here we are today, and I'm really excited about this podcast because literally these are my favorite solar sales trainers in the industry right here on the same podcast. So Jake Hess obviously is a big name in the industry. Everybody knows he's the owner of the Solar Academy, owner of the Solar Con, business consultant, solar consultant, everything under the table. Really excited. I want to appreciate you being here, Jake. And then MOD in the house, of course. Everybody knows Michael O'Donnell, MOD Sales Academy, Sun Solar Solutions, probably one of the top trainers I've seen in the industry. Really excited to have you on. I appreciate you, Mike.
Great to be here with you, Joe. Thanks for the invitation, and always good to be with you guys.
And don't forget, we got Josh King, the virtual solar sales master in the house. So I really think this is one of the amazing shows. We have all this knowledge here. So let's go.
Love it. Stuff.
But we want to get started with some fun stuff. This is not going to be no boring old podcast, interview, this, that. We want to have some fun, get to know you guys, and not have to have a whole long talk about it. But we call this 5 words or less. So Josh, can you start it up, baby? These guys have no idea what to expect.
All right. Graphic is up. We do this every single section just to start, get a bit funky, just to shake out all the cobwebs off, to have a good podcast here and get to know everybody. So 5 words or less, little section that me and Joe came up with. Sometimes these questions are dumb, but sometimes they're really, really good. Today, we'll see what happens. The first question, and Joe was really, really keen on this one because, actually, Mike didn't show up in a suit and tie this time. Every single picture I've ever seen of him, he's got a suit and tie.
Well, they switched it up. Look, and now we got Jake wearing the collar and the buttons.
I'm sharing my support for President Zelensky. This is my Ukrainian solidarity.
Yes.
Me and President Zelensky.
I was going to say, is that President Zelensky? But no.
This is my dictator country, uniform. No.
The dictator of solar sales. All right.
This is how you sell solar.
I'm gonna go from solar godfather to solar dictator. It's a promotion.
I don't know if that's gonna fly, Mike. I don't know about that one.
All right. 5 words or less. First question. Ask you a question. You got 5 words to answer, or under 5 words if you want. First question. We'll go to Jake. I'm actually keen to. Jake is a very, very specific style. And the first question is: describe your fashion sense, Jake.
5 words or less.
Let's see.
Let me see if I was right, Josh.
Woo! I would say my dress style is a posing surfer. How about that? I'm pretending to dress nice sometimes, but I'd rather just be in my shorts and flip flops and a t-shirt.
Yep. Joe called it. All right. Well, Michael O'Donnell's not generally, he's got his dictator wear this time, but Mr. Mod, describe your fashion sense, my friend.
Hybrid. I straddle the old corporate world and the new D2D door knocker world. I'm right down the middle. I'm morphing.
So he just can't count to 5, though. That's the only thing, right? No.
Hybrid, one word, hybrid.
Hybrid.
I came in with one word.
Michael, you came out with your book. You came out with your book, and it was great. But when are you going to come out with like a fashion show? Like, how can we get the Michael O'Donnell style? Where I can
Get that merch going.
After I won 2 Golden Door Awards 5 years in a row, I had more than one person say, "Michael, you should write a book." Jake, you are the very first person to say, "Michael, you should put on a fashion show." That's not been an idea articulated heretofore.
See?
The dictator line, just earthy tones.
Right. I love how Zelensky just came up with his own fashion line, right? He's got this, this camo sweatshirt hoodie. I lead the country in a hoodie. And that's kind of the hybrid, like this world that we live in. If you want to be taken seriously as an adult, in the room that I've been in several days this week, which was the Big Money Room, they had a big show here at the Arizona Biltmore. It was the Solar Plus Wind investment, blah 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 conference, and it was all the guys who put billions and hundreds of billions into solar. I didn't see anybody wearing sneakers. They were all in blue suits and $1,000 shoes.
I think that's changing. So I come from the world of back in the day where you wore a suit and tie, got kicked out of the office. And now we have people like Jake rocking around in sandals, and I see more and more younger entrepreneurs in like casual wear. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. In my heyday,
dress down Friday meant you wore khakis and a blue blazer instead of a suit and tie.
People don't wear dress shoes anymore. They're wearing Nikes with their suits, even if they wear a suit.
Right. I did see quite a bit of that. So to see these bankers, a room full of 2,500 bankers, their homage to today's style was that most of them didn't have a tie on.
Yeah,
they were in an actual suit, actual shoes. Some of them did have sneakers, not many, but their homage to where we are today was no tie.
I don't understand. I don't understand the dress up thing. I try to get it, but I would rather just be loafing, like you're loafing on a couch and you just go to the grocery store and you come, why can't we go do that as a business? Yeah,
we kind of are. So I have another one-word description of my fashion style, and that is a word and a brand: untucked.
Yeah,
I like
it. That's what I said too, right, Josh? Untucked white shirt.
I love it.
I thought you were talking about the brand. I think this shirt is actually Untucked brand.
I said it's fashion, and it's my fashion, and it's a brand. It's Untucked. Yeah, that's my go-to.
Mod merch line, fashion line coming soon.
That was only the first question of the 5 words of the last time. We've gone 5 minutes, so I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about here.
I think we knew this is how it was gonna go. We all probably had so much to talk about already. All right. Second question, and we're starting to get into the fun stuff now. We'll go, Mr. Hess, on this one. We'll go back and forth, but first up, Mr. Hess, if you weren't doing solar, what would you be doing?
Oh my God, I have the perfect plan. I want to coach my son's soccer team. I want to be
son's soccer team.
But what we're doing with SolarCon, I want to do the little kids soccer leagues. I want to make it more about the parents. We have those hype videos of the kids running around, and we have the parents dress up with the war paint, referees, announcers, and we bring in the bleachers. And I just want to do a whole show for the kids, but I want the parents to experience that. And then also, I'm getting into nuclear. I like studying that stuff. I read about it pretty frequently. And I have some buddies that actually left solar and went into nuclear. And I'm pretty excited to explore that a little bit.
I got a phrase that can all of our entire solar career. You ready for it?
What's that?
I said I have one phrase that could end the entire solar industry. You ready for it?
What is it?
Cold fusion.
Yeah.
It was just a story a couple of months ago that somehow they made a cold fusion reaction happen here on planet Earth, and it extracted, or it produced, more power than it required to happen. So there was a positive net gain out of a cold fusion reaction happening here on planet Earth. So The sun is fusion, right? So why are we getting this fusion power after it's traveled 367,000 million billion miles? Why don't we just make fusion power here? Luckily for us in the solar industry, we're probably, a century or two off from being able to use it. So
it's like, why are we using the sun? Let's make our own sun, right?
That's fusion. The sun is a ball of fusion.
Yeah, it's like a ball of fiery death on Earth.
Yeah, so Mike, we got Maud's answer then. If he wasn't in solar, he'd be in cold fusion right now. But
I want to know the real answer.
No. If I wasn't in solar, I have what I would probably doing and what I would like to be doing. So what I would like to be doing is I would be a world famous high stakes poker player.
Yeah, let's go.
I've done all those streams, and I'd be seeing your 25,000 and raising you 150,000. That was what I would like to do. That's why I want to have a 9-figure mindset, right? I want my yacht moored outside of casinos in Monaco where I'm playing high stakes poker in my post active sales career. What I would probably be doing is selling something else, though. If I wasn't selling, because I'm a gifted salesperson. I think I've demonstrated that. I'm not a gifted poker player, so I think I'd end up probably selling something else. Is what I'd be doing.
Probably selling something else. Well, it's perfect.
Something less lucrative. Solar's the most lucrative thing I could find to sell. I saw Tiger Woods coming down the 18th fairway in his first major, which happened to be the U.S. Open, the amateur. He was the amateur. He wasn't a pro. He won the whole tournament, I think, but he certainly won the amateur side of the tournament in the U.S. Open. And so the camera guys were there and a microphone in his face. Mr. Woods, what a blah, blah, blah. And he gives some blah, 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 blah. But there happened to be this total local yokel guy who was the club pro that was paired with Tiger, came down 18 with him, didn't win the thing, but he's standing there when the guy's doing the interview, sticks the microphone in his face. He goes, hey there, what's your name? And he says, my name's Bob Jones. He goes, what did you do? He says, I'm in sales. He goes, oh, what do you sell? He goes, whatever's moving.
Nice.
That's it. All right, number 3, and this is an interesting one. So many people on this call, myself excluded, I'll take out, are very, very large influences. Maybe I'm large, but not very, very large. So definitely Joe, Jake, and Maud. So I want to ask, actually, Joe, I want to ask you this as well. Because you guys are influences and you're influencing people, but you're also seen as mentors. I want to know, who are your biggest influences? Maybe it's solar, maybe it's outside of solar. Jake, who was your Jake Hess? Maud, who is your Mike O'Donnell?
And I'll go first real quick. When I first met Jake, I already thought I was the shit. I was already salesman of the year. I was doing a tour of California. I get training reps, helping companies change their culture. Like I thought I was like knowing everything I need to know about solar sales. And then I met Jake Hess through Clubhouse and through Facebook and training. No, I was like, my mind was blown over and over again. I was like, oh, okay, I'm a solar sales guy. That is a solar expert. And that's when I changed my whole mind. I learned so much from that day on. So I have to say my biggest influence 100% is Jake Hess.
Thank you, Joe.
Shout out.
Me
this
too.
Is kind of interesting because did you guys plan this? Did you already know this answer? It is Michael O'Donnell and Joe. I mean, at first it was Ben Mack. I talk about him quite a bit. He brought me to sales success, installing 210 installs a year on average, like just absolute monster. And it was all referral based business after the second year. It was just insane. But then when I got into this position that I'm in, it was actually Joe that taught me how to be more well-rounded in the industry, how to treat people better. I wasn't always like, what you guys see me as today. That was definitely all Joe. And to this day, even this morning, he still helps me be a better person. But then it was Michael O'Donnell that I saw on stage. And I've told this to Michael many, many times. He's my unofficial mentor because I hear that guy talk and I cannot articulate things the way that he does. I cannot build rapport with people the way he does. the way he makes people feel when they're around, and how much passion and emphasis he has in his talking. And he's still out selling, and he still is able to recruit people if he wants to. They have a big filtration system, and he still has massive influence. And it's just everything that you want to be in the industry, being able to speak on stage eloquently and passionately, get people. It's everything you want in the industry. He's written a book. So MOD is, and I'm not just saying this for this show. He will tell you, I have said that many times. But these two are my life changers in the industry.
I mean, to complete the cycle, I guess, Michael, you got to say that I'm your biggest influence.
Drink my head, and that it goes in the other direction when somebody as awesome as Jake says stuff like that. So no, Jake, thank you very much. Those are big words to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right,
you're
Mike,
up,
you're
Michael.
next.
Other than Josh King, obviously, who do you think? Who's inspiring you, or who inspired you to
Forget the 5 words or less, I guess.
So I could kind of do what Joe and Jake did and kind of focus on this relationship. I mean, we've been on stages now. We've stood together and delivered training to people. I could go on and on and on about Joe and Jake and how much I've gotten listening to them and being on Joe's, the solar objections. I mean, that was kind of one of the first things that really encouraged me to stop ignoring social media and start getting involved in social media. I would type a little answer, and the next thing you know, I have all these people, so it got me interested in actually connecting with people over social media. So that's that whole thing. And then when we met in Vegas and started working together, it's just been a profound experience. But I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm going to say Mr. Jeff Mendez. Why he's already been where I want to go, and he is right now where I want to end up. And he's a OG solar door-to-door guy, and he was one of the principals that really brought the whole Vivint thing to be into its fruition. So when I have like a sticky question and I don't know what to do, he's a guy that I will call. He's a guy that I wanted to be near from a proximity standpoint, so I went on his mastermind and got spent a week on his yacht, so to speak, doing a mastermind, and that was just entirely worth it. So he's by learning from people like Joe and Jake Hess, so they said focus and pay attention. Who can get you, the things that you don't know? Where's the complement to that? There's somebody who I look up to as a mentor to me, and I've been deliberately attempting to have time and proximity there and sign up for coaching and invest in myself, that kind of stuff. And that's paid off in spades. And of course, I want to end up where he is, which is, on yachts and private planes, going to his various locations and residences, because he crushed it in solar and was able to step out on top of the giant valuation. So that gives me a hope that it's real and exists, and energy to keep going every day.
Love it. I mean, everyone else shouted out Joe. I've said it before on the show as well, but Joe was the direct inspiration for me starting VSC's Facebook group and everything that came from that. So there you go. I guess it's Joe for everybody, isn't it?
You're just saying because I'm here. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I love to hear that.
So the next question on 5 paragraphs or less is, Mr. Jake Hess, why are you in solar?
Ooh. Are we doing 5 words or less anymore, or are we just threw that away already?
I think you said
I don't think we're going to be able to contain Michael O'Donnell with 5 words. There's no way.
Why am I in solar? I was selling home security, and I genuinely believed that sales for me was the way to financial freedom and success. And my friend, the one I mentioned before these two, Ben, he told me, and this is the first time that I heard it, but he told me this is literally the only product, and it might have come from Ben if you've heard this. This is literally the only product you can sell that money is not coming out of the client's bank account, but instead you're putting it back in. Mm-hmm. And you get paid a lot for it. And I was like, at the time I was younger, and I was like, wow, that's too good to be true. That's a crazy concept. Ben, I've trusted you, but get out of here with that, right? Because when you work at these companies, you just have they build this fear in you that if you leave, there's no greater company out there, right? It's just, if you leave here, you will fail at this job. And it was hard to get out of that culture and Kool-Aid until, someone did. I followed their lead, and And I'm happy that I did, because it's true. You can make a lot of money in solar and you are saving the homeowners money at the same time. Later on, it turned into a different reason, but that is initially why I got in.
Like a lot of people. Mike.
What about yourself, Mr. O'Donnell?
I get the 5 words. Golden handcuffs to financial independence. I think I nailed it. I think I nailed it. Yeah, I had a different motivation. I thought success was wearing the blue suit, getting a big title, having a corner office, and working for corporate America for $250,000 a year. I thought that was the goal. I attained that, did it for quite a while, and realized you don't get anywhere, you don't end up anywhere. And then when I met my partners and they were selling solar, went out with them for a night, kind of moonlighted for a couple of weeks, I realized I made more money in 2 weeks than I made in corporate America in 2 quarters.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the wrong thing. I need to shift my ambition to having titles and being part of blah, 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 and actually go for having a business where, you know, I can create financial independence and even generational wealth and a legacy, and shift gears into that. And thank goodness I did.
Love it. So 50 paragraphs or less now. We've had to expand it out.
Now, I had 5 words, and then I went on and gave you some
golden handcuffs to financial independence. That's legendary. This last one. So I've said this one before a few times, but I want to sort of try to change it up for you guys before we get into the juicy topics today. One thing that I've always thought about when I'm thinking about what are my goals, a lot of people will always say monetary goals, or they'll say some sort of analytical goal. One thing that's helped me is, instead of working towards something like that, imagining if I teleported myself into X amount of years where I've reached that goal, what it feels like for me, right? So using that structure, if you have to close your eyes for a second and meditate and, you know, imagine yourself in that position that you want to be or end up in, what does your ultimate solar career goal feel like? What environment are you in? The responsibility? Is it lack of responsibility? What does it feel like for you?
I know Jake's going to say.
Michael, go ahead.
Peace.
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill wrote a book, Think and Grow Rich with Peace of Mind. And I think there's a lot of people out there that have some number associated with what they thought would be success and an abundance of resources and money that don't have peace of mind. So I certainly have a number. For me, that's a 9-figure mindset. You know, I'm charging towards a $100 million or multiple $100 million net worth. That's where I'm, you know, I know every day. That's why I'm working the way I'm working. But if you get there and lose everything you care about on the way, or arrive and you're a wreck, you know, what is that worth? So how do you get there and have peace of mind while you're getting there and enjoy the journey? I've literally, you never know where you're going to get the nugget that makes a difference. I have one of the guys that are on my team, and he does a fair amount of inspirational stuff. In fact, you met him, Jake. His name is Frank Estrada, and he does a lot of speaking and stuff. But he said, man, you need to put a smile on your face in the middle of the toil, in the middle of the thing you're doing right now. And I literally find myself putting a big, I'm all, and I go, hold on a minute. Put a big smile. I physically put a smile on my face. I go, look around, man. I'm in a pretty good spot. I'm in a good home and I'm in a good house. I have a great family. My finances are in order. My things are good. Like, what am I all stressed out about, man? We're just trying to put points on the board. Why don't we slow down for one moment, grab some peace and some joy, and get a big, big smile on my face right now? And it's weird how it works.
So true.
That's for yourself, Mr. Hess.
Yeah, I just, for me, I don't know why I do this to myself. I think I put a bit of stress on myself with this one, but I don't think it's worth enjoying. I want to get to a place where I'm not working. I just do the things I love and I spend time with the people that I love. The complicated part of that is I'm finding not everyone that I love is as ambitious as I might be, or is willing to go through as many obstacles as I am. So, you know, with you know, ailments with parents getting older, or my special needs son and his mom that doesn't work, and because she's helping with him, so I can go do what I do, right? Which is a full job. I'm not going to get into that, but God, thank you for her. And these people that are close to me, friends, Joe, business partners, I just feel that I feel like I need to get everyone to success. Otherwise I can't enjoy success myself. And so for me, it's creating an environment where everyone can feel some sort of success from all the support they've given me and helped me get to where I'm at. If I just get there by myself, I feel like I would have cheated them, and I would have cheated probably what happiness really means.
That is so true.
You tribe to the finish line.
Here.
Yeah, man. I
You said one thing there, Jake, that I really want to impress upon you. That's something you said. You're talking about you just want to do what you love. From my perspective, looking at you, it looks to me like you are doing almost exclusively what you love. So is there a way for you to become more mindful that is the case right now and realize this second is the end of a destination and the beginning of a new destination? But right now is a moment where you can say, you know what, I'm doing what I love, and then just really take that in and experience it.
That's good advice. To be honest, I mean, if we're being really honest here, that really scares the shit out of me to think about that, because I mean, then what do I do now? Do I keep pushing as hard? Do I keep does something in my brain start to rewire and say, hey, complacency might kick in? It scares me because I feel like financially I'm not where I want to be. And so maybe it's the fear that keeps driving me, but I agree with you. I had a moment of clarity about a month ago of exactly what you're talking about, Michael, that it's incredible. Joe, is when we were at the Utah cabin, I realized all of these people, and I don't know if you felt it, but I realized all of these people that we're starting to support, people in our own families, for the things that we're building, are starting to support the people in our families and the friends we're close to. And it's happening. It's my goal. My dream is happening. And it was just a euphoric feeling. It was very good. So Michael, you're spot on. I need to dive into that more, because it was a lift of stress off. And I think I perform better like that too.
Mm-hmm. There's a quote in The Office, Andy Bernard: I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
Yes.
Yeah. And when I saw that, I'm like, that's something.
and hold on a minute. These are the good old days.
Oh yeah, baby.
And when solar was cranking, and the IRA had just been passed, and all this big money started to circle around solar, and the guys that were kind of making stuff happen were able to figure out what the next play was. That's right now.
I think this is
one thing.
Go ahead, Josh.
I was going to say, one thing I've realized, that when you're going through tough times, if you look back on, at least for me, I don't know for anyone, when I look back on the tough times, they were my most cherished times. Right? It's like I wish I could go back there. I was experiencing such amazing things, but in the heat of it, it's like, oh, what do? I wish I could have just calmed down and said, this is actually pretty fun.
Well, this is actually a perfect segue to my first question. So is it cool we get to the next segment? All right, I'm going to do it anyway. So you guys are known as the biggest influencers in the solar industry, and from the audience's perspective, it looks amazing. You guys are speaking on stages, running conferences, training large groups, but it's not so simple. It's not like you just got there overnight. So can we just go into more about those obstacles and things that you had to overcome to get where you are? And so people who are watching can say like, oh, they're normal people. They're going through struggles and situations also. So Mike, like for you, you're a perfect example of where people can get to from where you started. Can you talk about some of the obstacles you had to get through to get to where you are today? Well,
being an alcoholic drug addict heading for prison was one.
That's a pretty big obstacle.
You come right out of that.
I think the first time I met Jake, I was talking about that. And then for some reason, I elaborated a little bit more. And I said that my goal, my ambition was to be Johnny Depp in the movie Blow, right? So I'm selling cocaine in the early 80s. My goal is to be Johnny. Well, we all know how that story ended up. So I got very fortunately intervened on because I luckily got arrested in the first 5 minutes of the movie and taken it. So that was good.
Spoiler alert.
To a different path. And in my book, no matter what, I talk about you've got to kill what's killing you. You can go to a Tony Robbins seminar every single weekend. And if you're doing something that's destructive, obsessive, compulsive, that's, got you in a spiral, it doesn't matter how many self-help books and coaching and mentors you have, you're going down the drain. I mean, let's just face it. There's no positive thinking your way out of you running off into the weeds. When you go off into the weeds, you're either going to go into the ditch or you're going to take the weeds as, kind of a warning signal and do what you need to do to get back on the road. So I was very fortunate that happened to me as a very young man. So, I have 3 kids that have never, instead of seeing me glued to the sidewalk, in my own vomit on the back patio, instead of my kids seeing that, they've never seen me have any kind of a drink or a drug or a mind-altering chemical. I've lived a different life because I was able to deal with that challenge, that obstacle, early in life. But it's been a series, it's one thing after another. It never gets, it's something that we say in 12-step programs is the road gets narrower, so it's not like I have more and more, freedom to be reckless. I more responsibility, more commitments, more success, really narrows the road. And so because you're focused on getting somewhere, well, you can't be wobbling all over the damn place and having blowouts and, having stuff go wrong. And, you really got to be focused if you're going to get to where you're going. So that was a big one for me and overcoming that and getting rid of something that literally my story would have been one of the saddest stories. Like the story of Johnny Depp in the movie Blow. That's one of the saddest stories. I've never seen a movie end in a more heartbreaking way than that movie. And I just have to be grateful every day. That's not my story. This is.
Oh, when his daughter is standing by the prison yard and she actually disappears. Oh,
she's not really there. He never gets to see her. He's in prison. He imagines that he sees her. He imagines that he's talking to her, but he's absolutely insane by that point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a scary lifestyle. What provoked the shift? You being on that porch with the throw up? All of a sudden you just had an epiphany? You were
getting arrested for the 3rd time and realizing that guys like me I came to a fork in the road. I had to make a decision. I was going to be out here with the rest of us doing something, but living a very clean lifestyle of rigorous honesty and clean and sober. Or, I just keep, running off the road and end up in prison or dead or who knows, whatever. I had to make a decision. And for me, that decision came to a head at literally 20 years old.
Oh.
So I consider myself to be very, very fortunate in that regard.
Well, that would have been depressing as shit, Michael. I'm glad you got through that.
How about you, Jake?
What about yourself, Jake?
I have to say, it's true. Like Michael, even in his house, he doesn't drink. Like, he had all the poker books up there. I just went there with Lindsay.
Yep.
A week ago. He had all the poker books up and just water on a lazy Sunday, I think it was, by their pool, eating food and relaxing. It was nice. What's up?
What about you?
Overcome a specific obstacle on your end?
You mentioned a little bit earlier, maybe if I don't know what exactly you want to bring up, but everybody sees you as this inspirational thought leader in the industry and say all the good things you're going through, flying in places and first class seats, and they don't know the struggles and the hard things you have to go through. So I don't know what you want to touch about, but talk about a little bit about struggles you have to go through, get to where you are today, man.
Yeah. One of the hardest things I've had to come over recently was when I ordered this Ferrari and it showed up a day late. I was like,
how a day late? That's insane, bro.
What kind of life is this shit? Right? What the hell do people deal with on a daily basis?
All these damn first world problems, damn it.
No, I've never really talked about this stuff, I guess. I struggle with depression at times. It's hard because, I have this image that people see of me in the solar industry, and I feel like I have to keep it up. And so behind closed doors, and just to be honest, like even on the social media groups, if someone says something, like I'm constantly checking, because if they say something to bash me, I kind of like take it to heart, and I'm like, oh my God, they're right. I am an idiot, right? And I spiral, and but not always, it's just every once in a while. It's just, and I tell myself it's chemical in your body. It's chemical, and it always passes. But when you're in it, sometimes it's difficult to like, I've seen enough of a pattern where I know it's temporary, but at times it's hard to deal with that. And then, everyone says imposter syndrome comes in, but when you doubt yourself and you have depression at times, I don't know if I have depression. I haven't been diagnosed, but I feel depressed at segments at a time, and and doubt myself, and I think that hinders me, and it is an ever continuing obstacle, I suppose.
That's so important to talk about, because so many people are going through similar situations and they don't know how to handle it. And they don't know it's normal. Other people are going through the same things, and for us to be able to talk about these things more in front of audiences is crucial. So I really appreciate you for that.
I concur. And people feel alone because they feel they're the only ones going through stuff.
Yes.
And in the door-to-door world, we got guys out knocking on doors. You're in a neighborhood, it's dark. You're by yourself. You need to knock another 20 doors to get one or two more appointments, and you're scared. You're anxious. You're feeling this feeling of inferiority, and you feel like this used car salesman or will work for food guy. You're just massive amounts of shame. Like you like almost paralyzed because you think so lowly of what you think other people view you as, and then you think you're the only one going through that. And when you share it and you say, I feel this every day, every time I go out, I feel this. They go, what? You, Mike O'Donnell, MOD, you feel embarrassed? You feel scared? You feel ashamed to be knocking on a door? It's like, yeah, every time. Yeah. I feel like throwing up in the bush before I go to the first door of the day. Now, 2 or 3 doors later, I've got momentum, and I'm not feeling that, especially if I'm out with other people. And, that's the best hack of this whole thing, and how to really make money is just keep making play dates with people. Come on, let's go play together. Let's get out in the neighborhood. Let's go knock. But then when you're with somebody, you act brave. Even though you don't feel brave, you act brave. And then you get past that first door or two together, and now you start feeling not scared. A door or two later, you do feel brave. Next thing you know, you're like 6 foot tall, 10 foot tall, and bulletproof. And that's a transformation. But when you're at the one end of that transformation, you feel like, there's something defective and wrong with you. And you just think it's you. You don't realize everybody goes through it. And then that's why we need to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think people out there, I want you to know my life is great. I do have a lot of positive things happening. Obviously, my family, I don't walk around like I'm depressed all the time. But it comes in spurts, and I want everyone to know that is listening to this. There are a lot of people like Michael and the people on here that if you are going through longer spurts of depression, or if you are down a lot further, I was there too. Michael sounds like he was as well. And it is something that you can get through. It's hard, obviously, but if you keep pushing and keep grinding, I'm not even necessarily saying in solar, or if you talk to the right people, I think that you can get out of it. I guess like Michael's saying, just know I was also there, and I still struggle with it even today with all the successes that I have. So it just maybe just not as bad, but you do get out of it. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Well, speaking of successes, if you don't mind, Josh, let's get to the next question on here. You guys have some of the top training platforms in the country in sales and solar sales, and people out there want to be like you and start their own stuff. Like, how did you guys start this? Where did the Solar Academy come from? Where did Solar MOD Sales Academy come from? How did you guys start and think of it and start doing it? You want to tell like kind of the origin story, Mike?
Yeah, no, it's funny. I had some real significant breakthroughs for me. That getting off the golden handcuffs and feeling I could be independent, work on straight commission, be an independent contractor, get away from a salary, which is the golden handcuffs. Getting away from that, I was inspired by that to start selling at a level where I was putting 100, 200 kilowatts a month up. But as soon as I started to receive the cash, and I think this is the biggest problem for anybody who's moderately successful in the solar industry, is we get paid such a weird amount of money per deal that as soon as you end up $15,000 ahead of your problems, you start thinking that you don't have a problem and you stop working. And I found myself going from 100 to 200 to 40 to 60 kilowatts. Why? Because, 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month solved all my problems. And what I was used to was being motivated by trying not to get evicted. I was motivated by not going bankrupt and having my credit card shut off and telling my wife, yeah, you need to tell the kids to pack up their shit. We're moving to the actual, out of this neighborhood into the actual hood. And I didn't want that to happen. So that kept me working. And then to prove I could get away from the handcuffs, I really overdid it. And then I found out, wow, I could just put in a really modest amount. I think one of the most attractive things about solar for most people is that you can sleep till 10, be in your pajamas by 2, and still figure out a way to rent a Lambo to put on Instagram. And that's what they're doing. And so, for me, I had some breakthroughs. I said, when I first, some things came together and I put together a sustained effort, and it happened to be a deadline. I thought solar was over, like what's going on at Net Metering 3.0. I had that deadline in Arizona in 2017. I put a sustained effort in and sold, 2.6 million watts of solar. And I go to SolarCon and they hand me 2 of these things instead of 1. And then I go, wow, how do I do that again? And I started to focus on that. How do I perform at that level? And I started to really study it and opening myself up to it. The resources and the ideas and the breakthroughs came to me. So that's when I did that a couple of years in a row. Sam Taggart came and go, Mike, we gotta share this with people. I'm coming over to your house. I'm like, what are you doing? He said, I'm gonna videotape how you make appointments and close solar. And I'm like, well, number one, I don't know how to do it. Number two, I don't know if I want to share that with everybody. Why? And he's like, O'Donnell, don't worry about it. I can break it down. And then for that other question, man, karma is an amazing thing. It's just an amazing thing. You put it out there, help people just for free and for fun, and let people get benefited by that. You're going to experience a reward that's 10x greater is the idea really of karma. And that's been 100% true. And so for years, I've been sharing with people how to do this and putting on sales summits and all. I haven't charged anything to anybody for any of it. And it's, I've been the one. You know who sounds 10x better in a house and on a door? I do. I've heard my training that earlier in the day. I sound way better at that door than I would if I wasn't sharing with somebody else how to do it. But anyway, that was the inspiration to actually create. I'm talking to Michael Bird. He's one of my coaches. And I'm telling him what I'm doing, and I'm, sharing it with people. I got people flying to Arizona, living at my house. He's like, O'Donnell, he said, that's not a training program. That's a residency. He goes, how's your wife feel about that? I go, she's dealing with it, Anyway, he said, you really need to codify this and make it into, you need to turn what you do into something that's leverageable and repeatable and has real genuine access to more people than you can sit with. I'm a sales guy. I want to sit with everybody. So I got to turn more into a marketing guy and be more like one to many, like we're doing in this podcast. You can't sit with everybody. And that was the idea. And he said, yeah, let's get on my plane. And he flew me to Vegas, introduced me to Brad Lee. And Brad Lee said, man, we got to get this down. I got some guys who can help you get this down. we got to get this. We got to get this information from the people who have it to the people who need it. And so that inspired me to put the MOD Academy on Lightspeed VT, and it's just taken off from there.
Just to add a little bit, just make sure everybody understands the context of the residency. I don't know if you said it further, but you literally had people live with you to train them solar. And I think you still did this like as little as less than a year ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah, when my neighbor died, I was trying to buy his house so I'd have more bedrooms.
Yeah. That's insane. How about you, Jake, man? Where did the Solar Academy come from, bro?
Ben, Mac, we were running Helio Gold together, and our accountant, we were doing pretty well, I think. So Ben said, "Hey, let's go to this conference." I swear to God, of all things, I was like, "Ben, I hate conferences. I will not go to a conference with you. Screw your tickets. I'm not going." He's like, "Dog, I spent $500 on each of these. Could you please just go with me? I really think we should check it out. I've done my homework. I think you'll like it." And I said, "Fine." I was like, "Fine." On the company card, I'm going to rent a Maserati, and I'm renting a convertible Maserati, and I'm renting us a sick-ass Airbnb. And he was like, "Okay." And so I did. I showed up. He rented a nice little Toyota Camry, little 2-door thing, and here I am in a convertible. I was a total asshole. So I go into this conference. I'm like, whatever. I don't know. I built a successful company. What can these guys teach me? And I just started writing. And I was like, whew, I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. And I just kept writing over and over and over. And then day 2, I'm like, I got this. And I start writing. I'm like, look, you know what? I turned to Ben. I'm like, look, I can literally do all of this. It was about coaching and selling programs and building conferences. I was like, I can literally do all this. I don't need these guys. I just took videos of everything, took it down, and I said, I could do this. And then, but it would take me 10 years. Right? So I hired this guy to help me do it. And Ben and I we flew back to San Diego. We had an in-house CPA. He told us, look, you guys each made 1.7. Here's where all of the money went. And we saw that we spent on incentives and programs and everything. We saw that we spent 80% of the total budget on parties and water slides in the backyard for barbecues and like cruises. And it wasn't the people that would show up to those didn't even produce all the volume. We were like, oh, wow. Okay, so we've created a party for 80% of the people that work here. The other 20% don't care about this. And so we immediately, after going to that conference and being inspired, we were immediately like, let's shut Helio Gold down. That much money, and we shut it down. We built the conference up. We had our first one. All the tickets were sold. And then COVID came and said, hey, we're shutting every business down. We had to refund all the tickets. And that's when I put it online. And that's about when I started. That's how I started. I just was driving through neighborhoods. And if you sell solar, you know this is true. I was driving through neighborhoods and I wasn't even looking at anything but rooftops. That's a sexy looking roof. There's no shade on that one. And I was like, oh, that one. And I just kept going. And I remember anxiety and stress boiling up inside of me because that's how I made a living. And when I'm looking at these roofs, I don't know which one of them are going to buy. And I had to go hunting every single day to kill something that I could eat every single day. And when I was beginning in solar, that sucked. That was stressful. That was anxiety. It was, I cried some days. It is hard. And I never really wanted anyone to ever feel that way again. After going to that conference and learning where to put my energy from Helio Gold, hey, don't put it in these people, put it in the people that actually care. All of those things were a culmination. The pain I had of learning how to sell solar, that was all a culmination of why I wanted to make a difference in the industry and start to build something that people could skip time with and skip that pain with.
Beautiful.
Jake, I always knew there was something wrong with you. Now I know what it is. Anyone who can look at a roof and go, man, is that sexy? I don't know what you call that, but it's a thing. That's not a good thing.
Mike, you've seen your share of plenty of sexy roofs, bro. Come on.
It's a growing problem in the industry. It's a fetish that's beginning to grow. Unique to our industry only.
I didn't think I had a fetish, now I
LGBTQ plus, and we need to come up. I don't know what that is, but there'll be a letter for it.
Oh man. What were you saying, Josh?
I was saying, I don't know. I didn't know I had a fetish before, but now I do. I think I thought that everyone had the same thing.
Yeah, I love looking
at
at
least
sexy
everyone that I
roofs.
grew up with in solar. We'd see a roof that was good, and we didn't even know if we could install it in. We're just getting McDonald's. We're like, that roof's amazing. And we just go knock the door just because the roof is so good.
You know when the car's in the driveway, and then like the kids' toys, and you can tell like it's a beautiful home, but you could tell, and there's a pool, and they could just save so much money, and you know that if you like, but then they have a clay tile roof, like a lightweight tile that you know is going to need a comp underlay, and you're just like you just can't stop looking at it. That like it's sexy, but it's naughty. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Those are the ones I have a problem with.
that's how I feel about inflation reports. I see inflation reports. I think they're sexy.
There you go.
That's how I feel about solar system without skirts. It's like sexy but naughty, right?
Okay. Let's get on to the next. This is getting weird.
All right, Josh, on you, bro.
On me for the last question.
The next one.
The next one. All right. I think, Mike, you actually mentioned this before, and this is a question that I threw in here because I've certainly found it as soon as I started training 10 years ago in solar, it kicked in. But certainly at this point, it's definitely apparent to me that when you start training so many people, you're able to start looking at your training material, your training structure, your training philosophy from a different view. And you can almost, you change it. You see things that are different because you just keep repeating the same thing over and over again. And you see certain people succeed and certain people don't. Have you found that as soon as you started training people, your personal philosophy, sales structure, and ability actually increased versus what it would have been if you never trained anybody?
Literally all the time, because I'm training every day and I'm knocking doors and closing, all the time. I'm constantly finding myself, as I'm more in a training mode, come up with a better way to say something, a better idea, another angle on it. And then I'll find myself using that later that day and have it be super effective. So yeah, I'm kind of in this evolutionary thing where I know the stuff that I do works and is effective, but it gets better and better. I don't think, it's one thing, people ask me, well, where'd you come up with that or whatever? And it's like, it would be hard to be really smart on 1,000 subjects, like a Jordan Peterson. Okay, that guy's smart. He can speak to 100, different topics and come across as the smartest guy you've ever met. How hard is it to just be continually studying one thing, one conversation, one experience, but employing all of your intellect, all of your reasoning to that one argument, and be having that same conversation in a more and more and more and more compelling way. To me, that is super exciting. And plus, when I hear other people do that, what I really love is somebody that I've trained. And my niece joined the company here recently. Was driving back and forth to Tucson, and literally hearing her on the tape recorder of her last close, she sounded like me, like my words, which gave me great pride. But then she kept making them better. She added her twist, her context, her experience. She comes from the realty business. Man, she was putting these real estate agent zings on the stuff that I say. I'm like, man, that is just super way better than what I normally say. I'm like, Tiffany, I'm going to steal that right now. That's going into my shtick right now. And to me, that's exhilarating. That's super exciting to see that evolve and evolve through other people.
It's almost like a hack. It's if you have one solar company, right? It has one vision and one philosophy. It's very difficult to get away from that. The second you start observing other people, whether you're teaching them or they're trying random things, you start getting so many different data points of successes and failures that you start getting a much better picture of what actually works because you have access to all these people, whether you're the one teaching them that and they're going off on little side tangents and trying different things versus if you just blinders on one philosophy and you never change from that and you didn't even allow people to go off on the sides. It's like a little hack on your own personal sales.
Yes. The other thing that happens is I'll say stuff in training class I really don't have the guts to say to a customer, and I'll say it in training several times, and then I'll get the guts to say to a customer, oh, yeah, no, we have you down as not interested in solar. That's not why I'm here. Pause.
I like that.
And they go like, Like, I didn't really have the guts to do that. I came up with that in training classes. And then when people are with me, I do it in front of them. And I'm like, holy cow, that really worked. Yeah. Yeah, we're interested in solar. That's not even a thing. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, why I'm here is I'm here about the new law. You guys are required to make a decision. Did you see President Biden sign that thing? It was, just a couple of months back, he signed the new law. Yeah, there's $400 billion in this new law, and you're required to take between $10,000 and $20,000 of it, or not take the money and pay it back. So you'll either take the money and go solar, or you won't go solar and pay for your neighbor's solar. Anyway, we just have to find out which one you wanted to be. That's why I'm here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Jake? Because I would describe all of our platforms, training platforms, as decentralized, meaning that people can get training, but they're not working for one solar company. Do you think that if you stuck with what you're doing and you stuck on that centralized solar company, building it up, you would have a similar view of solar as you do now, seeing so many different operations doing so many different types of things, or has it changed?
Are you asking if the way that I teach to do solar, I would do it if I built a business? Is that what you're asking?
Well, maybe just looking at the industry in general. Like, did you have a certain vision of the industry and where it was going back then? And now that you experience so many different companies doing so many different things, selling so many different customers different ways, do you have a different view on where solar is going and the right way to do solar?
My view on the way to do solar has not changed. Ironically, it is the same now as it was 10 years ago. I don't think there's been a lot of adaptation as far as that goes. But what has changed is, obviously the dealer fees, the finance stuff has changed. When I first started, like very, very first started, it was cash. Cash was the only way to get solar. And then it switched to you could do loans, but if you did a loan, then there was a lien on your property. And then it switched to leases, and then it switched to PPAs, and then it switched back to loans, and then kind of saw a peak in PPAs, and then loans went huge for a long time, where we're at right now, like the last 2 years. Loan has been king. And now PPA leases or TPO companies, third-party ownership companies, are starting to make a rise again, just because of the economy. You have to adapt and change with the industry. It will always change, but the things that don't change are the way that it's sold. You still have to know your product. You still have to know how to protect your homeowner. It's the same process from site survey to CAD to installation, inspection. None of that stuff has changed. It's been the same game for 10 years that I've been in it, at least. And that means that the principles that I would teach haven't changed. The way that I would train salespeople in the homes haven't changed. But the knowledge that we have to have and the way that we adapt and the way that we sell it, that has changed. Or the mentality we should have. Agencies, understanding that, they slept on stuff and now they need to come back and fight for their position, like the utilities. They slept on NEM 1. They were like, oh, this isn't so bad. And all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, we need to create different tiers. We need to figure out how to do this. We need to start charging for, when solar's putting power onto the grid, we got to charge for that too, in some areas. The whole country is trying to figure out how the hell to handle solar right now. And we're getting a lot of pushback on the negative side, and then it goes back to positive. We've seen that in Nevada. We saw that in Utah. They got rid of NEM and now it's back. Everyone's trying to figure out what the hell to do. And all of us are going through the wishy-washiness of that. And I think that if you don't adapt with it, then you will die. I think that's just kind of how it goes with most things in sales.
So speaking of adapting and being a California guy, what do you think is really going to happen in the next several months after the net metering 2.0 deadline? How do you think solar proposals are going to look, 3 months from now when people are getting proposals under the new structure?
Honestly, I don't think anything will change. Salespeople by nature, and I say this because I am one, emotional. And we get all worked up when our commission is going to be affected or our sales ability or the ability to sell a homeowner is going to. I don't think anything's going to change. The proposal is going to say different stuff on it, but that's not the reason why you sell solar. You don't sell solar necessarily only for the savings. there's a lot of markets that you don't do that in, right?
Well, I think in California, that's been predominantly the case. Hey, if you go solar, you'll save $100 a month. Well, why wouldn't I do that? Well, what else do you need to say? I mean, we lost net metering in Arizona in 2017, and
Sure.
in the ensuing years, there was some savings, but not a lot, couple few $100 a year. Now there's none. One of the reasons my training is so effective is because I've had to learn how to sell solar with no savings, and I'm able to train people on the actual reason. Nobody buys solar to save $38 a month. That's absurd. Homeowner's got $5,000 to $10,000 a month in bills, and he's going to go solar to save $38 or $48 or $68 a month. That's not a thing. That's not, it has nothing to do with it. And so learning the real compelling reasons to go solar and teaching salespeople how to do that. I'm thinking guys in California are going to need to start getting that figured out. What I was curious about is I can't really find anybody who knows the math. Like, we had to do the math when net metering ended here. We had to do the math so we could go out and do proposals the next day and say, well, if we do 100% offset, here's where you end up. And we're like, whoa, 100% offset doesn't leave you in a good spot. We got to do 120. And so we started selling solar systems at 120%. I'm just curious if, who's done the math in California to know, is a battery going to work? Can you oversize it? What's really going to happen, do you think?
People have done the math. They've done that stuff. But I wanted to address something you said earlier. I am a California guy. There is a tremendous amount of savings here, and I want everyone in California and across the country to hear this. Just because we have higher savings doesn't mean that the sale is easier. And because, hear me out on this. Some of you are flipping me off. I can feel it. But we also have more competitors than anyone else. Sure, Arizona's one that has a lot of competitors. I go there, and it's some of the country's largest installation companies, right? But we have competitors in a way that is unique because of our utility rates. Our utility rates are the highest in the country,
right?
So in San Diego. And then when you go further north, they're still high in the country, right? But what happens is you have people hiding in bushes to jump out the moment you walk out of that door to go tell them that their solar is better. So it actually becomes to a point in California, if you're going to be successful, that you cannot actually sell on the savings. In fact, when I do trainings in California, I tell them the price and the savings like almost within the first five sentences out of your mouth. You're paying $700 right now. It'll probably go down to $250 or $350. That's not the reason to do solar. And I still spend another hour and a half in that home talking to them about solar. And when I started selling in Colorado and all these other different states that have different, Arizona, New Jersey, what I found was that I only changed one thing in my entire pitch. That was the amount of savings that they were going to get on the first year. That was the only thing that changed. And so I want everyone in California to know your pitch is not going to change. Everything about what you're doing isn't going to change. You're just going to change a few little sentences in your pitch. Instead of saying, hey, you're going to save this much, you say you're going to save this much. You're still showing a savings to the whole country. Like the rest of the country, Idaho, Arizona barely shows a saving. Idaho doesn't show one. Like what are you doing? What are you complaining about here? You know what I mean? Sorry, I just wanted to go.
To hammer that point home, and I've said this a million times, but I'll say it, we might have new viewers. Every global market that has had a massive boom, like a major global market, Germany, UK, Australia primarily, the boom has happened after net metering was killed. I started in solar 10 years ago in Australia, and net metering was killed 3 years before I started in the industry. There is the boom happens when people actually figure out why people go solar. And it is not some number on a page. There are far more value adds to solar than a number on a page. Just because you put your value, because you've been able to save people hundreds of dollars a month from day one, ever since you started in the industry, just because you put your value on that number does not mean that is the main value, even the primary value that actually gets people to go solar.
Kind of like being born rich. Like everything comes too easy for you. It's going to be hard to, if you ever go poor, it's like, oh, that's going to be a hard life, right? So it's like if you go backwards, we're going to go forwards here. That makes sense or no?
Yeah, it did. Wow. Michael, but what do you say to all this?
Well, I talk about this all the time, that it isn't about savings. It's about the compelling nature of solar. And the compelling thing about solar has nothing to do with the fact that it's $38 less or $38 more than what you're currently paying for electricity. And what we really get across to people is not what they're paying now, but what they're going to be paying in 5 and 10 and 20 years for power. That's the reason. It's to solve an existential threat. If you go from paying $3,000 a year for electricity to paying $9,000 a year from electricity in the next 10 years, you probably don't live in that house, right? That or your retirement plans or plans to send your kids to school have been curtailed. And so if you're on a doorstep talking about you should go solar because it's cheaper, for A, that's not going to work anymore. And B, that doesn't have anything to do with going solar. It's a superior strategy. It's a way to build wealth, and it's a way to give yourself peace of mind and to put your family on a track where you know that they're going to have, financial and energy independence. Not having that is a huge, huge problem. And so if you're just talking about some of the lighter things and this and that, it's like, and then people understand why they say they're not interested. It's because they're not. They're not interested in saving $38. We hardly sell any solar in Scottsdale, and Surprise has 50% saturation. Why is that? Because people in Surprise will take a meeting about saving $50 a month. People in Scottsdale don't know why you would have a meeting.
Oh no, did we lose Michael?
About saving $50 a month. I don't think so. I see you guys. Can you see me?
Oh, there you are. You're here.
Do you see me, Josh? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, so you've got to get into really what is the nature of solar, what are the compelling benefits of it, and they are dramatic. And we're not knocking on doors going, you'd look better in a nicer shade of lipstick. This is not Avon calling, right? We've got to get in a customer's face and be talking about this is not Avon. This is Paul Revere. The British are coming. The British are coming. They are in the harbor. There is pain coming down the strait, and you need to avert that. You need to take steps now, or you're going to be in a world of hurt. And I'm the expert about that. Don't tell me you're not interested in that. That doesn't make any sense. I know you're interested in ending up being financially independent, well off, and not having to be in a world of hurt financially because you didn't have time to sit down and take a look. You were going to spend $100,000 on a commodity and you wouldn't take another quote. Like, bro, that doesn't make sense. How are you going to spend $100,000 on kilowatt hours and not accept competitive quotes? That makes no sense.
It makes zero sense. And on the same subject, you guys train lots of different things, right? But people want to learn different things. What do you think is a topic that is going to maximize the most results? If you had to pick one topic and be like, this is the topic that's going to give you the best turnaround in results and what you need, what would you say in a general answer would be that topic? I would say, let's go. Go, Jake.
You're asking what people need right now as a general topic?
Yeah, what would you say would be the topic that would maximize results for them to get them faster to where they want to be? Just a general topic.
I have to think on that.
What I'm constantly talking to people about is understanding that, if you're looking to make $1 million in a year, then you need to provide $1 million worth of service. We don't get paid an abnormal amount of money because it's just for whatever reason. We're actually worth it. I've made a 7-figure income selling solar year after year after year because I'm worth it. I'm doing something that's worth $1 million. What is that? Waking up a homeowner to the idea that they're just on this fossil fuel train, where that's going to go. And then the real service is as I sit with them, I'm able to make this so compelling that they start to lose their mind, right? And as they lose their mind, I'm standing there with the solution. And for some reason, they still want to think about it. The real service that I'm doing is learning my craft, learning how to do what a world-class salesperson, more importantly, what a world-class closer do. Because the real service is helping a customer not just perceive the benefits, but move forward and take action right now, today. That's the service. That's what the money's for. And most people don't know how to do that. And that's what the training is all about, is really to become world-class at this craft. And you need to do it soon. because there won't be forever that people need world-class salesmen to sell solar. All we got to do is take kilowatts and ratchet up to $1 a kilowatt hour, and they'll just get them at kiosks in the mall. So if you want to create financial freedom for yourself and you think, I'm just going to access this ability to make 5-10 grand in a day or a week, and you're just going to let it sit there while you're not maximizing it, you're out of your freaking mind. There is not another gig that you can go to just because you know how to sell where you can generate this kind of an income. I've been around this block 10 times. I've never found anything like this. And I don't think, though, just because when this one isn't like that, I don't think you're going to be able to just access another one. and you're sitting around and you're using solar so that you can make 10, 20 grand a month without hardly working at all. Like, what is your perception of this opportunity? If you're going to treat a gold rush like it's really just a reason to be lazy, like how is that forming, thoughts in your head and leading to the behavior that you're, doing and what you're producing on a daily basis? It doesn't make any sense. And I see it every day over and over and over again with my salespeople in the industry, people in my training class. They're literally producing results based on how much money they need now. And that's a huge mistake.
I agree with Michael. I think you got to work on your delivery. I think my approach to it is definitely different, but I'll tell you, in my earlier years, I thought I was the best at what I did, and some kid that came in just was not eloquent in the way he spoke, just totally rammed through conversations, smelled like cigarette smoke, and I'm just like, man, this guy is just not. I feel bad. That day, he beat me. That month, he beat me. And that year, he beat me in sales. Yeah, it had no rhyme or reason to it other than pure confidence and work ethic. Unreal to me. So what I'm about to say is just there is diversity in sales. I genuinely believe in order to become the top 1% in the entire country, you have to go by the old trick of product knowledge. I think that you have to learn your sales skills, and I think you have to learn your product. Your sales skills are only going to get you half the way. Everyone else in the industry, and Mark Cuban says this, he says, work as if there is someone working 24 hours to take it away from you, because there is that person. And so if you go into a homeowner's house and you are not the best, and I do mean the best, then eventually someone's going to come by and take your job. Now, they're not just taking your job, they're taking your time, right? So what I like to do when I go in the house is I like to be able, on that first visit, I don't wait for site surveys and the EPC to come back to me and say, sorry, go re-sign this contract. You have to add more because you forgot this. I played that game. I did not become wealthy because I played that game. That is the game for fools, in my opinion. That is the game that you have no control of your commission. So when I go to a house or anyone that I've ever taught, I want them to be able to say, look, I understand that they have the same branded panels, Q-Cell, and ours says Q-Cell. However, theirs has a 12-year product warranty. Ours has a 25-year product warranty, and both of them are 25-year performance. So let me explain the difference and why ours is about $3,000 higher. And let them choose, because I swear to you, if you go through that conversation and you show them directly on Q-Cell's website what the difference is, they will not go with the other company, even though you're $3,000 higher. You can begin to build value in your knowledge. I can also tell a homeowner, look, this will need an electrical upgrade, which is why it is $4,000 higher than the other one, or whatever you guys choose, $2,600 or $5,000, I don't know. But whatever the electrical upgrade price, that's why it's more expensive. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to send someone out to do what's called a site survey. And then they're going to come back and with their tail between their legs, and they're going to say, hey, so we need to increase this. Here's why. And I explain and I show them. And I say, but if you want me to do it this way with this many panels so we can avoid that upgrade, here's my price. If you want me to add the panels with the upgrade so you get the 100% that you want, or in Michael O'Donnell's case, 130% that you want, then you can choose this. It doesn't matter to me. This is your home. When I become the most educated person in the game or in my market or in my even business, I don't really compete anymore. It becomes less of a competition. And what I aim to do is in this industry is teach people how to just get rid of all of your competition and close every single home that you go into. It is a waste of time to be away from the things that you love to do and the people that you love, to go sit down somewhere and close a job just to have someone else take it away from you, or permit poaching, or any of this stuff that you all complain about. It is your fault. You are not prepping the homeowner well enough to stay with you. You're not building enough rapport, and that's a BS one. You're not building enough, you're not doing enough of a sales solidifier, enough of a reason to stick with you. If you have permit poachers stealing your accounts, you are doing something wrong. You should open up the door and put a flashing light on there saying, this is my house. Bitch, try to take this away from me. If you can't do that, you have the wrong mentality.
I love that. That was beautiful. Josh, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yes, I like that because it's survival of the fittest. At the end of the day, that's the reality that we live in. So if you're not setting your customers up, you haven't prepped them for someone who is going to try to take them, and competition hasn't really even started in the U.S. industry, although many people would like to think about it. But unless people are able to actually do that, open the door and put a sign that says, I just sold this customer, try to take them from me. If you don't have confidence in that, then I love it. I'm all for it. Sounds like a competition to me. I like it.
Everyone says they're the best, and I say, okay, well, I am happy to gamble here. Give me the address to your job. If you don't believe I can beat you, give me the address to your job. I will let me. And they always say, no, I don't have a challenger yet. I would love one. For anyone listening, I would love a challenger, please.
That's a Jake sneaky way of getting free leads, by the way. Good, creative, like it. So, strong topics there. Favorite topics. Here's one thing before I think we got a cool little segment to head over to. I think a lot of you guys have already answered this, but how do we rationalize the term and the understanding that those who can't do teach? How do we bridge those gaps when we're on the front line teaching people, whether people are getting success or not? Because I've had this for 10 years. I could sell deals, I could show people, but then a new wave of people come in, have never seen me sell before, and then there's all of a sudden there's disbelief, and it's constant back and forth and back and forth. Do you solve it? It's an internal thing?
I have a very good explanation for that one. Some people, I've used this a few times. Some people like to fly first class. Financially, it doesn't make any sense financially. I mean, it doesn't, right? I had someone come into one of our meetings and he was like, you know what? When I get to the airport and I go onto that plane, I was walking back to an economy and I had an epiphany. I don't want to sit in economy. In fact, I don't even want to sit in first class. I'm ambitious. I don't want a plane. I want the whole damn airport. That's how ambitious I am. That's how hard you have to sell, right? And I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow, I remember when I used to be like that. Like that was stressful and that was a lot of work. But you go ahead and run the airport. Thank you. And I'm going to sit in first class with my drink and watch my movie. Right? I don't need to stress. I've already done it. I've been there. I've been through it. And now I would rather enjoy the life that I have built and gotten to. And if you want to stress and go through that all again, that's your prerogative. But it's not fun. And you're going to find it's not fun. So, yes, I will agree. There are those people out there that are coaches or teachers or trainers that really just shouldn't be. There's no real entity to come back and slap them on the wrist. You just have to do your research. But I wouldn't look down on all of them because sometimes the people that are dressed in the pajamas are probably the most successful ones, right? The ones that call and you ask advice from. You're calling to ask advice because they're good at what they have done and you need to learn how to get there, right?
I'm a little different. I'm still flying economy, so I'm not in first class. and I'm trying to get to a point where I'm flying private. So it's a little different. So, and actually, so as a VP of sales of a large solar company, I'm out selling all the time. So I'm constantly selling during the morning and then out actually selling in the afternoon. What I have done though is I've stopped putting my name onto deals. Other than, I have, I don't know, between 1,000 and 2,000 customers. So my phone rings several times a week just with referrals. So I'll bring new guys out with me to present and close referrals, which isn't kind of fair because most of those are laydowns. So they'll be like, oh, this is just easy. Wow, this sales thing, man, you just come in, have a fun time and have a party and write them up. And the customer wants to pop a beer at the end and somebody's getting paid. But I'm out with salespeople on door knocked appointments. I try not to go on the shopper appointments, the leads. I want to be out on appointments that we knock the door and I present and close, and then the sales guy gets the credit for it. So his name's on the sale, the kilowatts, he's getting paid. And I really have a problem not seeing myself on the top of the leaderboard. So I'll just be honest about that. I'm a sales guy. I'm so competitive. What kept me, I have a partner named Troy, and he's also double Golden Door award, multiple years. He's also 5 years Golden Door. And I would see where he was on the leaderboard, and that would just propel me into action. And I would boom, boom, and he and I would be like this all year. That's one of the hacks to how we ended up with that. So to not see my name on the leaderboard like that in my own personal company, it gets me. I gotta get over it.
Michael, I have to say, there's a lot of wisdom in that. You're doing it at a level that I didn't, but the wisdom is when you get reps into your business, the fastest thing that you have to do is get money into their account, right? You have to have a good experience. They have to put a lot of effort into getting them there and training them. They put a lot of faith into you. The faster you can get money into their account, the better. And so, Michael, if I'm hearing you right, you bring them to learn, study, and train from you. I'm assuming they have to go through some sort of process to get that privilege.
Yep.
Right.
And that step in the process is go through a presentation with me or my partner, Troy, and then they get credit and the money from that sale. But something else happens in that experience that, it's one thing to hear about a today only close. And I have people that have worked with me for me, whatever, for years that I know do not do today only closes. And I know why, because they're smart enough to know that when they pull the today only close out, it's going to get awkward. And they don't want to be that guy. They don't want to seem like a used car salesman. And so they don't do it. And it's another thing to be with somebody and have them see me not want to do it either. I don't like making it awkward. But when a customer says, this is awesome, you're terrific, man, I'm going solar, it's with you, no doubt. There's no possibility not going solar. No doubt it's with someone else. But I'm a baller, and I got legions of accountants and legions of lawyers, and, I'm not allowed to sign stuff without having these legions of guys look at stuff. So, of course, I have my due diligence and requirements. But I think I can get all that done and meet you on Friday. Does that work for you? You available at Friday at 2:00? That's a close right there, right? And it's one thing to think you're going to do something about that and go, yeah, no, absolutely not. There's no way I could come back on Friday. In fact, I'll never be able to come back ever again. I'm not in the comeback business. We have a team that comes back. I'm not on that team. It's not because I'm a jerk. It's not because you're a jerk. Now that we're best friends, I love you. I hope we're having barbecues together. It's just not my job to come back. And so I'm going to make you a proposal, and that proposal is good right now, and it's not good when I walk out the door. It takes balls to do that. And you're not going to have balls to do it if you haven't seen somebody else do it. And when you've seen somebody else do it, it becomes real, and it becomes, like I can do that. Yeah, it was awkward. You know what? We got to the other side of it.
That's good. I would say, I tell people all the time, you're a salesperson. You should be able to handle awkward situations. And I do think that the very best salespeople in the whole world use awkward situations to their advantage as a sales tool. The very best can actually put that awkward statement on purpose. What's that?
We could just take a YouTube recording of Jake Hess and send it to the customer. They'd be all excited about solar. The reason we're sending you, because we got to have you put them to a decision. YouTube video is not going to sign anybody up. We're sending you there because, you do what we tell you to say in the YouTube video, but then you've got to put them to a decision. And that, by the way, is the 7-figure service. That is what we're doing for the customer. It feels like, oh, we're being pushy. Guess who needs a push? That guy needs a push. And you're the guy who was sent to give the push. That's why you're at the table. And if you're going to see a nail and look in your bag and there's a hammer, and you look at the nail and you look at the hammer, and you leave the hammer in the bag and you go, yeah, I could come back Friday. Grant Cardone says, sell or be sold. And if you're going to buy the objection, then you were the one that was sold. Yeah, he doesn't. He really needs till Friday. He's got legions of accountants and lawyers, and he'll be in trouble if he signs it tonight.
Yeah.
I've seen people tell me that.
I thought you were going to say that all Jake's YouTube videos were awkward. So
yeah, I thought I was going to say that. You want to talk about awkward?
Just show a customer one of those and close them up.
It's just a series of roofs, and it's called roof porn.
And then you just slowly come in the corner and just smile, like just fade out
with no skirts.
We got LGBTQ question plus, and we got to figure out this roof fetish thing.
That's right.
I know Josh wanted to ask a question about current events before we get to the fun segment we're doing next here. Do you want to get into that, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I don't know when this is going to come out, so it might have blown over, but we got some big players, so we might as well talk about it. Finance, SVB, economy, what's going on? We just heard about the things that are happening with Sunlight. We know SVB's going under. Did it get bought? Who knows? How is this going to affect finance on the sales side? How we train, what people should be doing? What are your guys' immediate thoughts? Because I'm sure you've got some strong opinions.
And if you don't know, that's fine too.
No, man. I mean, the whole world is all about this. This is the thing. It's topic one. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I've been just taking incoming missiles since I heard on January 20th the word COVID or whatever they were calling it. And it's just like one thing after another. COVID, then then we got the panel the panel circumvention problem, and then one thing after another, and then to find out, oh wait, interest rates are going to go through the roof. Guys, I was showing proposals, last summer where the customer's getting power at about between 9 and 10 cents on a 25-year Good Leap loan. And that same proposal is now 14 cents. That's a 40% increase. And then Good Leap just called us last night and said, all those numbers are no longer any good. We're doing away with this one, and all the loan fees are going up. You'll get new numbers started, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's another thing. And then on top of it, you've got SVG, Silicon Valley Bank going, Signature Bank going, maybe other banks going. I just pray to God that, we have such strong leadership in this country right now that somebody can, sit down and lead through an actual crisis. If there's a run on the banks, I don't even know. We just cash in our chips. I don't know what we do. So if there's a run on the banks, it's going to get even more and more tough. It already is tough because sales have been very difficult in November, December, and January because people are trying to adjust to a new normal. Like they're going, I'm not buying. I mean, we've had a huge increase in canceled appointments, not saying no once we showed it to them. Canceling the appointments. I don't even know if I'm going to have a job. What am I doing looking at a $50,000 thing? I'm not looking at anything right now. And so like 2-3 months later, they're like, oh, wait a minute. We still have to pay for electricity.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though inflation is 8% and this is effed up and this is effed up, blah, blah, blah. We still need electricity. The world goes on and they're like, oh, okay. So, we had a record week in sales last week. And then this week, we got the banks failing over the weekend and people going, I don't know. So it's a constant adjustment. And what I'm finding is we're having to work harder to make the same amount of sales happen. And so if we want to grow, we have to work a lot harder.
Yeah, I've heard that, I've read, 54 billion just came from Switzerland to fund the bank and they accepted. And that's scary.
Oh, that's Credit Suisse. Yeah.
Yeah, that is scary because that same thing happened in 2008 when the big banks started to go down. They got loans, to bail them out. And so it is kind of scary. Also, one of the banks or one of the big businesses that is affected by it is a data business that supplies a lot of the data to our proposal tools, right? And if that does go south, then most all of our proposal tools won't work based on the business that these proposals are built on top of the platform. And Sonova, what's that?
I hadn't heard that. Yeah, that's news.
That NREL
pricing thing, and then GoodLeap, after hearing that, is also getting rid of their 3.99.
Mm-hmm.
So it's absolutely affecting the industry already.
All gone.
Is that NREL that you're talking about?
What's that?
No, it's a production API that calculates production for system design tools. But
I can't remember the name of it. I was on a call with. I'm looking at software myself, and so I was on a call about it, and I don't remember the name of it because I'm new to it, but it was talked about.
And you don't know where this stuff is going to ripple through. I mean, by the end of the weekend, where Silicon Valley Bank is going, we find out that Sunlight is entirely banked by. Their money is sitting in Silicon Valley Bank, and their deals weren't funding on Friday. Then we find out 15% of Sunrun's funding and debt is sitting in Silicon Valley Bank. Well, what are the ramifications of that? We don't know. But I'll tell you what, and here's the key, and here's what we need to be hearing people. This is what people need to hear about that, is the antidote to all these problems is go solar. Because all of this is going to cause a much more rapid increase in the cost of fossil fuels, especially since the government's solution to everything right now is tax fossil fuels. And so you're out of your effing mind if you're not capping your inflation by putting a solar system on your house. Like, this isn't a salesman's thing that this is an existential threat. It's an actual existential threat to your family's financial future. So you must do this, and you need to do it now. And I mean fucking tonight. Why tonight? I can't come back here tomorrow with this proposal because the interest rates in this proposal are no good. I have to, if I
the proposal software is going to go down.
The proposal software is going to go down. And if I
do you see why Michael O'Donnell is my Michael Jordan?
And if I have to come back here tomorrow, I cannot come back here with this proposal. I'm refreshing these proposals by the hour because the interest rates are changing by the hour. And that sounds like bullshit. But I'll tell you what, the best bullshit is real bullshit. This is real bullshit. If I leave tonight and you don't sign, I can't bring this proposal back tomorrow. I got to have my office regenerate it and get the correct interest rate in it. Period.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of right now, we're running out of time, and I really want to get to this next segment. Do you guys have a few more minutes to do it?
Let's go.
Yeah, Josh, throw it at
Let's
him.
make it happen. All right. Well, we knew we were going to have some big dogs on today, and whenever we have that, we want to put a little competition. I don't think Mike O'Donnell has a competitive bone in his body, but we'll try to see what we can get out of him today. But we're going to throw a little trivia at you guys here, all right? And at the end of this, there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. That's just the reality. And the trivia is going to be on general solar knowledge. I'm going to ask. I have 10 questions here. I'm going to ask each of you 5. Joe's going to keep score. And at the end of this, there's going to be a score, and that's how it is.
I think Joe and I need a 1 point.
I don't want excuses. I don't want justifications here. We're just going to start this off.
It's harassment. This is solar harassment.
This is a competition, and you're about to learn your knowledge in solar. So let's go.
All right.
Okay. First question, and I'm going to aim this one at Jake. This one's a bit of a doozy, so you got to be ready for this. Joe, are you ready to keep score here?
Oh, man.
Oh, so we're not buzzing in.
Nope.
This is very direct. This is very intense. This is very, very important for everyone watching here.
I'll pass it to you.
No. And hands up. No Googling.
Yeah, hands up, and there's no lifelines.
First question to Jake. What color is the sun?
My lord. It is all colors.
Oh! He got it exactly.
He's right. What is that called?
White light.
Light?
Yeah.
Color.
White. All right. I guess we'll give that to one. So that's Jake.
That was the exact answer.
Was it?
That was the exact
Technically,
answer.
it's a better answer than Joe's answer, which is white.
White. Yeah.
All right. Second question. General solar knowledge. I think you guys get the theme at this point. Mike
Who's this
O'Donnell,
to?
what is a star called when it explodes?
Say it again.
What is a star called when it explodes?
The answer's not outside, Mike.
I know this. It's a God, it's like a Neymar or something. I don't know it.
He's so
You want to go for a
close.
steal, Jake?
Supernova.
Yeah.
That's the one.
That's it.
Does he get? Is that part of the rules, Josh? He gets a point for that.
I don't know. We're making it
We
up
just-
as we go. I feel like, Joe, I feel like our joke with the trivia thing also doesn't hit as hard when I do the whole, oh, damn, solar. I forgot. I got the wrong
What are
trivia
the
today.
what are the stakes, by the way?
I was gonna say Will Smith.
What do
but
we
then
win?
I thought you meant like
To be titled the Solar Trivia Champion, Mike. Come on, bro.
Okay, you gonna send me a coffee mug?
There you go. St. Patrick's Day's tomorrow, right?
Happy St. Patrick's Day. That's why I wore the green.
All right.
It is. Joe, you said we should do that at
Say
one point as well. I think we forgot.
What's that?
All right. Next one's up. This one's going to Mr. Hess. What is the name of the closest star to Earth?
Majora Ursa or Ursa Majora.
Is that your final answer?
No,
Oh,
it would be the
could be
sun.
right.
It would be the sun.
Is that your final answer?
And
Oh,
the steal.
he changed his answer.
The
Got
sun.
yourself there.
Damn.
I would have
Good
loved for Jake to
catch.
get that one wrong. Yes, it is the sun. The sun is the closest star to Earth.
Oh man, he got to come in with a final. On Jeopardy, when you utter a word, that's it. That's the answer. Majora Ursa.
Well, that's we'll leave it to the judges for that one.
All right, final.
All right, we'll go to Michael O'Donnell on this one. What is the scientific study of stars and other objects past the Earth's atmosphere called?
Well, in general, the whole thing's called astronomy.
Is that your final answer?
Boom.
I don't know what the answer is beyond our ... So no, I think it's called astronomy.
Correct.
All right.
You're
to
on
one.
the board.
That was a trick question because once you get past whatever beyond, it's another thing. I would have been screwed.
There were full of trick questions today. I still can't see any photovoltaic questions in here, but we'll see how we do.
What's
I
with
just
the
Google
astronomy
search Ursa
questions,
Majora,
solar questions?
and it's a random constellation in the northern skies that is shaped in a bear. I don't even know. I don't know why that is in my head.
Who's
I
in your
apologize.
head?
It's-
You caught
You're
it.
on a
though.
roll, Jake. Yeah, 3 in a row. Keep going.
You're Googling, Jake? Someone
Did I
cut his
question?
Google off.
I
Answer.
my answer is what.
All right. He's got Siri on. He's just going to tap Siri the second I start my question, and then the answer's going to pop up, but his hands are going to be
Good idea.
to keep my hands up now.
exactly right here, so you can't even hear the question. All right,
Press is mute.
let's get into some good stuff here. Jake Hess, how many stars are in the Milky Way? Apparently, Joe said this is common knowledge, by the way.
Approximately.
All of them are in the Milky Way.
Right, fun.
It is. I'm going to guess 1.2 billion.
Your final answer?
I have no idea.
All right, Mike.
I
You have a
didn't know
chance
either,
to
but-
steal.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go for more than.
Eyes
I
up.
don't
Eyes
think-
up, Mike. Eyes up.
I'm going to go for more than.
Oh, you don't have an answer?
He said.
He's going for more than 1.2 billion.
There,
No,
that's all.
this is not Price is Right, Mike.
That's not how this works. It's
That's
not
exactly how it works.
I'll allow it.
highest without going over.
I do not.
This is common knowledge.
I don't
There's
have
a
an
100.
answer, so I won't offer one.
Should be common knowledge for now on, everybody watching. There's 100 billion stars in the Milky Way, and there's
Yeah.
100 billion galaxies in the universe.
Wow, that's why I said more than.
Yes, you were right. All right, the next one goes to Mike.
We're 2-1. Is that? Are we 2-1, Joe?
Well, it depends if the steal counts or not.
He didn't get a steal. We're not doing the prices right. So this is not what this is.
The sun. I said this is Ursa, and I was like, no, it's the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 2. You're on 2.
Yeah, 2.
Okay. I thought we were
But
yelling
he
about
got a
that.
steal. That's why Joe's wondering if he counted. He had the steal on mine, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is a good one, and this one I'm going to do the closest without going over officially. So I'm going to ask both of you. I'm going to get both your answers, and it's going to be the closest
Kinda
without
like
going over.
Price
Price
is
is
Right.
right rules.
This is Josh's question.
After
so
declaring
he
this
thinks
one
it'll come out.
specifically, the Price is Right, we've instituted Price
They
is
have now
Right.
turned it to the Price is Right.
Hey, this is
There's a
pre-written,
combination.
guys. I'm not coming up with this stuff.
One point
This is a combination of all game shows.
1.7
Correct.
billion.
This is the Solar Pulse game show. How many Earths can fit inside the sun? We'll go to Jake
Who
first.
the hell
for his
knows that, right?
Shit.
Whoever gets closest to the answer wins.
It's 100
Without
or
going
it's about
over.
a million, but it's in that. It's in that.
What's
that
your
called?
number?
Oh, let's say 1,000.
All right, Mike. What's your number?
I would say 1 million.
And Mike is actually pretty damn close. 1.3 million Earths can fit
The
inside the sun.
steal! Yes.
2 to
Somebody
2.
knows their solar. We
We're
are all
tied
tied
up
up
here.
right now. 2-2.
Okay. Now, this one I'm sure is common knowledge, but I
Can we
don't think
switch to
Joe
poker
thought
questions?
it was. What's that?
Can we switch to poker questions?
No.
Oh, okay.
Michael O'Donnell, I have been
How
a
about
sleeper.
this?
I was down with poker.
Hey,
How
Jake
about this,
plays
Mike?
poker too. Actually, I
Let's
play
go.
poker also.
I'll ask you poker questions, and I'll ask Jake technical questions about solar. Is that fair? No.
All 4 of us play poker. Did you all know that? That's another
All right.
common.
Well, let's go to
I
Vegas.
think the better term is I'm taking your guys' money at the poker game after SolarCon. That's
Don't believe
so it's
him.
really-
When Josh is playing poker, he's drinking and falling asleep. So
I wasn't falling asleep. I was just forgetting what cards I have.
I'm all in.
It's a calculation, and you guys are playing a game. I'm calculating wins here. All right.
there
All
you
right,
go.
Phil Ivey, calm down there. All right, let's wrap this up. We got. I think this is a comic. This is going to Mike O'Donnell because he had the. Yes, I think Mike O'Donnell.
This is not common knowledge, Josh.
I think this is. How long does it take for the sun's light to hit Earth? This is a Mike O'Donnell question first.
I think it's about somewhere between 1.6 and 3 years.
That is incorrect, and I'm going to get Jake to go for the steal if he has it.
8 minutes.
Yeah, on the
Bing,
dot.
Pow.
Yes, someone's got to know it. There it is.
I
All
think
right.
we're 1.3. Are we a light year? No. Okay, never mind.
So
8
we're at-
minutes.
It's 3-2.
It's 3. Well, the steals count, I guess, or we're changing the rules here, right? 3-2.
We got no rules here, man. We're just going for it. Let's go.
There's
through
only
it.
one rule.
Needs to know what to do.
There's one
Yeah,
rule.
so
Sell
Jake and I-
solar.
Jake has that could be the tiebreaker. Jake has 2 steals. I have 1.
There you go.
All right, we've got 3 left here. We might not need the steals. Let's see what happens. This is to Jake first. What is the brightest star in the night sky?
Oh, my Lord. The North Star,
I thought the same
What
thing.
is it called?
Ursa Majora.
That's actually closer to this answer than it was to the sun answer. We'll go to Mike O'Donnell to steal, though.
The North Star has another name.
I don't
That's
actually
the-
know if North Star is right. But
No,
The star certainly
don't
has
let
a name.
Josh confuse you, Mike.
Brightest star. I don't have.
Serious? Are you serious?
Are you serious?
That's the answer. I'm trying to help you out, Mike. If you're serious.
Serious is the answer.
giving him a hint there.
That would be serious, Josh.
Oh, well, ding, ding, ding. Wow, what do you know?
Whoa.
All right.
We only have two
We've
more
got two
questions,
left.
guys. We're all tied up here. So,
We have. Are we? What are we at? What's the score looking like?
well, 2-2 if we don't count any tiebreakers.
It's
Okay,
3 to 2.
2.
3-2 if we count a tiebreaker. Yeah.
All
5
right.
to 2.
This one's going to. Just keep throwing numbers. This one's going to Mike first. What type of star is our sun?
Where are these questions coming from? How could you have a list of questions on astronomy? What kind of
It's
star?
the solar trivia. What'd you
This is
expect,
the
Mike?
solar
No,
quiz,
it's
man. I don't know
not.
what type of questions you were expecting.
I was not expecting this. So I would say a fusion star.
Ooh, not even
I was gonna
close.
say nuclear, but we're not telling homeowners like, oh, by the way, before you go solar, you should know that the brightest star in the sky is actually called. Like,
Wait, no. Jake,
And
did
those
anybody tell you this is solar sales trivia? We just said solar trivia.
oh,
No one said it's solar sales, man. What are we thinking? I think
If it's
Jake's
only
trying to make an
way,
excuse.
we
because
probably
he knows,
don't need to.
Mike's going to get the
fusion
next
to
few and
Earth.
take the
That's
lead.
close
Here.
enough. That's a short commute. 8 minutes.
No, Mike would just win. So Jake has a chance to win it all right now. This is it for the whole shebang. The last question. Find out
All right.
who knows solar the most. Michael O'Donnell.
Distance. This is to Jake. The distance that sunlight travels in 365 days is called what?
a light year.
That one. I knew that one. God damn it.
Mike's
What
like,
kind of,
I wanna-
what kind of star? You said what kind of star? What is it?
it's called a white dwarf.
Our sun is called white
I
dwarf.
just said, God damn it, I knew that.
think that's politically correct. I don't think you're allowed to say that anymore. I mean,
Only when you're
we
talking
gotta
about
go
stars.
color and stature all in one. That's not, that ain't.
Wait,
We'll
what
just
is
call it
what type
a
of star?
white little person.
What type of star
A
is the
white
sun?
dwarf.
Oh,
White
White
dwarf.
dwarf.
got it.
So how do you feel, Jake? We need
And
a
then
speech
Jake
now.
gets the question. What would you call a light year? A light year.
Exactly.
I tried to say 365 days and sunlight instead of light, and he was making sure they didn't get it right. He was double thinking
You
himself.
would have got that if you didn't know the answer. Oh, that would be a light year.
Jake, what is a light year?
Okay, well, there it is. We have the winner. Do you have anything to
Congratulations,
say for yourself there, Jake? Would you like to thank
Yeah.
anybody?
It was a team effort. Thank you for teaming up against Michael and allowing me to win that. No,
Thank you. The only category I couldn't have crushed Jake in.
no, it is hard. I have to say, it's a struggle to learn how far the light travels, how much time it takes for it to hit the sunlight to the earth. It was a tough time in my life to learn that.
It all paid off. It all paid off now, right, Jake?
I knew this moment would come, and I'm thankful that I went through the struggles that I did in order to be able to answer this and win.
All right. One more question.
I think that, in honor of the time of year, you should have asked us Irish questions. I was ready for that.
Ooh, I would have lost.
Well,
I'm an
this is
Irish
gonna be-
scholar.
This is the last question for you guys. We're wrapping it up. If anybody wants to reach out to you, they want to get training, they want to get a business consulting, they want you to fly out there, they want to talk to you. How do people reach out to you? Do they go to your website? Do they go to social media? Mike, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Social media is great. So that's Michael O'Donnell Sales. And you can find me there on Instagram, Facebook. I understand I'm huge on TikTok now.
Yeah.
And if you want to reach out to me about a job, you can talk to me on Sun Solar Solutions, Michael at sunsolarsolutions.com. You can also go to my training website, which is modsalesacademy.com. modsalesacademy.com.
Yeah.
And Jake?
So for me, just, go ahead and come to SolarCon. I'll see you there.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're looking for, the sales trainings or consulting, you can go to the Solar Academy. Brent Attaway is over there, and he has all of our trainings. I think I just sent 40 videos to him like a week ago. I don't even think he's uploaded them all yet. But so you can get me there. If you want the private stuff, that would be Joe. Reach out to Joe, and he'll chat with you, and we'll all get set up, and all of us will be happy.
Love that. And
we might
we're
as
all
well.
going.
What is SolarCon, Jake? Just in case anybody's not aware of what's going on.
It is a platform for people to come and learn and educate themselves in solar. You'll notice that, just because the people running it, they don't get up and, sell packages to everybody and say, hey, this is for the industry to come and learn from people like Michael O'Donnell and Josh and Joe to come and, just experience what the industry is about and hear it directly from the horse's mouth. You get to hear things from Solar Edge. You'll get to hear things directly from Solo and MOD Academy. And anyone that you've ever seen anywhere is going to be at SolarCon. So come and educate yourself, invest in your career, and meet the people that, make up this industry that you work in.
I think just because Jake Hess, Michael O'Donnell, and Josh King are going to be at SolarCon is enough reason to get asses over there and hang out, network, learn. It's going to be the time of our lives. I'm so pumped.
Looking forward to it. Can't wait, literally.
I know, Michael. Thank you for all of the support and the posts that you're doing. I love watching your traveling.
Is this the way to SolarCon?
Yes, I love that. Keep doing
Michael,
it, baby.
Michael calls and he pretends like he's not going to be speaking at SolarCon. Like he goes through this, like we wouldn't have SolarCon if Michael wasn't there, but he goes through this thing where he calls and he's like, hey, so I wanted to talk to you about this year's SolarCon. And I'm like, Michael, I will do whatever you want. Just please come. And he's like, okay, I want this. I want to be here. I'm like, please come, because if you don't,
It's not a riders list.
Would not
Like
miss
Skittles, or the only green Skittles are full.
It's in our
Totally
country, but I
side.
can't
Wouldn't
do such
for the
things.
world. I'm super proud of what SolarCon was last year. First time out, it looked like something had been going on for a quarter of a century, and I got so much out of it personally. It was a big day for me. My book came out.
Yes.
Hundreds of copies, and my daughter was getting married that weekend, so I had to cut my short. So super looking forward to it this year. I know we're going to build on it. It'll be that much better, and I'm excited to be there and be a part of it.
Wait, how's the marriage going, Mike?
Very, very well. I'm expecting some good news that I'll be able to share sometime soon.
Maybe at SolarCon.
Maybe. That would be cool.
All right, guys. Let's wrap it up. Thanks, everyone, for joining. It was very good to see you guys and meet you as well, Mike. And
Josh, great job.
Everybody.
Thanks for putting this together. You bet. Thanks.
See you guys at SolarCon. Yeah.